Hey everybody. Welcome to this week in macros. Um, so before we begin, so this is for 2013, 2010, and 27 are both different. I don't personally have a tutorial for 2007, but I've linked to it um, on the website, on the Blackboard site, should you need it. Anyway, um, so what are macros and why are they useful? Macros are a tool that you can use when you have to make repetitive changes across a lot of text. The benefit of a macro is that it can streamline the revision and editing process. As we know in professional writing, the first draft is rarely what gets put out. Admittedly, sometimes it is. We all hate to admit it, but that's rare and not encouraged. In this class and in my other classes, we do focus on how important it is to plan ahead and to revise. Um, anyway, though, macros can also be useful during the drafting process, but I generally prefer them as an editing tool. But your mileage, again, may vary. It's totally up to you and what you want to get out of the program. So the first thing is that we need to keep in mind is we're going to be using the developer tab. So if you're using 2013, I know mine, when I, installed 2013 on my machine, it came preloaded. But if for some reason yours isn't, um, you can go into File, and then Options, and then in this Quick Access Toolbar. So it's not going to show the Developer tab here because I already have it added. But you can actually, let's see, choose from, yeah, so, oh, okay. So you can actually add the developer tab um, in through here. And, let me know if you have questions with that. I don't think anyone's going to have a problem, but you might. Um, so, anyway, so now you'll see here's the developer tab. Don't worry about this Visual Basic. We're not using Visual Basic in this class. You can also, let's see, in 2010, um, yes, and in 2013. So in developer, we've got macros over here in this code section of the tab. We can also go into view, and we've got macros over here toward the right side of the ribbon. So, but we can really work with macros in either. It doesn't necessarily matter what you choose. It just kind of has to be there. um, so if you click on this, it'll allow you to view or record macros. And I also have up here in my toolbar four, yes, these four little these four little icons indicate that these are macros I've recorded and saved in previous classes. Um, so, uh, yeah. Anyway, so you can actually save them. What I do is I go into we'll see how, but again, in the quick access toolbar, you can actually save macros. You can go into macros. I don't have any fresh ones saved in 2013, but these are all old ones that I imported over from 2010. Anyway, um, so anyway, you can view your macros. Um, and since again I haven't created any in 2013, these just imported automatically when I upgraded from 2010 to 2013. So if you don't have any macros recorded, the view macros isn't going to necessarily do you a whole lot of good. So the first thing we want to do is we want to record a macro. So under the developer tab, click record macro. We're going to need a name. I'm just going to call this October 2014. Yeah. So you can assign it to one of two ways. You can create a button, which would be up here, or a keyboard shortcut, where you'll, through a set of keystrokes, activate the macro. Um, So, like how you can make text bold by hitting Control B, or you can save text by hitting Control S. It's basically the same principle. Um, a thing to keep in mind is for a keyboard macro, you'll actually want your command to start with Alt, the ALT button. That's very important. Now, another thing before we get started is where we're going to store our macro. Um, the default is all documents normal .m, or you can save it into, so this document is document 1 as I haven't saved it yet. So you can save it into all documents or in document 1. If you save it just to this file, which is if I selected this, document 1, it will only be associated with this file. You could technically export it to the rest of Word, but the process is not easy at all. But so if you save it here to just to the document, it will only attach to that document and not attach to anything else, at least not elegantly. If you save it to all documents, that makes it a macro that can be applied throughout Word. So basically, if I saved it to just document 1 and set up a keystroke command for it, that key command for that macro would only work in this document. Whereas if I save it here, that key command will work in many documents. So if you have questions about that, please do feel free to ask me. I know one question that did come up previous semesters when I teach this is, well, what's the point of assigning a macro to only one specific document? I recommend saving things to all documents in general. It depends what you're doing. If you're working on some big custom document that might require some specific formatting changes throughout that one particular document, I may just want to associate the macro with that particular project. So if I'm like working on a book, a creative writing project maybe with some more atypical formatting that I don't anticipate using in the rest of my professional writing, I might add that macro just to that document. But again, feel free to play around. You can also add a description of the macro, not mandatory, but often useful. Your macros do get saved in your quick parts, which we discussed last week, so sometimes having that description can be helpful. So I'm just putting a little class in. So first we're going to go and record a keyboard macro. So to record a keyboard macro, you enter the necessary info. So we've done the name, we've decided where to store it, then we hit click keyboard. So now you assign the keystroke you want. The simpler the better. Make sure it's something you can remember. So I'm going to hit Alt T V. No, I'm actually just going to hit Alt T. The more keystrokes, that's just the more you have to remember. So I'm just doing Alt T. So then assign, close the window. Now type the text that you want to save as a macro. And you can do lots of things. You can set up a bulleted list. You can set up a signature file. You can add any text that you want. So and you notice I've got this little recorder thing, recorder icon, this cassette tape icon actually, on my mouse. But anyway, so I've created this text. Now I'm going to click this little square button down at the bottom to stop the recording, because that's all I wanted. So test it. Now we have to test this. So open up a new document. I just hit Control N. Now to test this, to make sure it worked, I have to hit Alt T. There is my text. so now it's been saved and you can use it as other documents. Um, Say I actually want to do some formatting instead. Um, you can also, do specific formatting as well. So I'm going to, so now I went back into view macros, and now look, there's my macros up there. And then you could actually, another way to do it other than with hitting a keystroke is to go into your developer tab or your view tab, macro, view macro. Now I've only got one to select, but so what I did was I selected it, I hit run, and then it came up. So that's another way you can do it, but having assigned keystrokes can be useful. But if for some reason you forget your keystroke, you can run it from there. You can go into the organizer to edit it, or you can edit it through here, but that's kind of a lot of work. Um, this is more advanced type editing. That's not necessarily something we're going to cover in this class. Anyway, so I'll show you another keyboard one. I'm going to record a macro, and I'm going to do bolding. So I'm recording the macro. What I'm doing is and I'm going to turn off bold and turn on italics. So it's not just, and I'm going to hit record. And I have already forgotten what keystroke I recorded, or set to that, go me. So I'm going to hit view, bold demo 1, I'm going to run it. So I have bold text and italic text. So it has preserved both the text I wrote and it has preserved my formatting. So that can be very useful, especially if you want to do, say, a signature file or an address and have certain elements bold or italicized. Alright, so now I'm going to show you how to record a button macro that can be stored elsewhere. So again, you have the option to save it in the quick access toolbar by going save options, quick access toolbar. You can also save them in this ribbon here or in the developer ribbon. I like them in the quick access toolbar just because they don't take up a whole lot of space. But again, that's just me. I think it's a little more efficient than saving things to the big ribbon. It's just right there. Anyway, so now let's go in and so we'll work from the developer tab this time just so you can see it. Here, if we just click this button, we'll see the macros we have available with that option to run or edit or organize. And here we just have the record right here. So I'm going to hit record macro. This time I'm going to assign it to a button, and actually first record macro. Let's see. And I've been assigning all of these to normal. I don't want to associate them just with this demo document because it's a demo document I'm going to get rid of. But we're going to click button. And now it's automatically taking you to add it to the quick access toolbar if you want. It defaults to that. So I'm going to just add it to the quick access toolbar. And now we can see it's recording. And I think I'm going to add just a list. And then I'm going to stop the recording. So I'm going to go into our other document. and I'm going to go into, let's see, which one is it? Okay, so here is the newest macro. So these are my old ones from 2010. This is my newest macro. So if you mouse over them, it'll show you, you know, the new one. So, and now it has my list introduction and my list. Um, and if you're wondering why we do this, why we would save text like this, again, addresses, specific headers. Also, a lot of times in professional and technical writing, you will reuse similar amount similar text from a report across other projects. So you might have an important, paragraph of text that you would use in a report to shareholders versus a research report versus the press release that you'd send out. So you can have that saved and easy to move around. So again, once you've recorded a few macros, you can then go back into the viewing pane, and look, there are all these. Here's this one I set up by accident. I'm just going to delete that because I don't really want that. That doesn't actually accomplish anything. So you can go, apologies for the dog. Again, I do not have a way to pause this recording while I'm doing it. But anyway, and I can go in and edit information without creating a whole new macro. So that's the basics of macros. For this tutorial, I am going to shift in a kind of different direction rather suddenly, just because I want you to be able, we're going to be getting into templates next week, or we're going to be getting into building our own templates next week, but just to get you started in that, I just want to shift and draw your attention to where you can find default Word templates. Like these automatic ones. So in 2013, they're in design. We're not going to be using them specifically in this class. In this class, I encourage you to play and build your own, but they're also, it's nice to know where they are. Oh, sorry, they're not in design. That's the custom themes, which we've talked about already. But say we go into File, so let's go back, File tab, and select New. So we have lots of templates here for letters, for resumes. I'll pull up a resume, a resume template. So look, we have lots of these to choose from. We can also, there are templates for business flyers that you can, and a lot of these are just already preloaded in Word. Some of them you have to download from office.com, but it, doesn't, here's a volunteer sign-up sheet. So really just explore these. They can be useful. I tend to not use them as much. I tend to just sort of design my own because it's easier to customize that way, and I like having that power and control. But a lot of people really do like to take these and learn how to modify them on their own or just use them. Here's a little diploma certificate that you can get. Build your own birthday cards. So these are fun for some people. It's, again, they're not that efficient to alter, but again, this is, these are still a tool, and it's sometimes useful to know where they are. So I just wanted to draw your attention to that. Again, any questions, email me, and the homework should be up in Blackboard by the time you see this video. So, have a great